have Arjun Bhattacharya. If you know who that is, he's a famous photographer. And we've also got Radha Bhagavan Prabhu from Kolkata. We got two Bengalis, and I'm like going to die because I'm going to try to sing a Bengali song in front of two Bengalis. Let's see here. I want to send this song to them. I hope you guys have got this song.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I've forgotten about this. Here we go. So, Raja Bhagavan Prabhu, I'm sending this to you. So, Arjun Prabhu, you should be nice to him and he'll let you look at his phone maybe at the same time. Maybe he'll even send it to you. So I will start off with something from Srila Prabhupada and a few prayers and things. So you can go ahead and put that aside for now, this song. We'll get to it in a few minutes. Whoever's showing us real meaning of Savior here, you can, yeah, there you go, that's better. Gora Graganya Gana Gocha Goloruharam Goranga Guratama Gopyata Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Shatatam Namami Utama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Jile Kakola Kahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Prana Re Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasyaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Parama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Srikuryat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sambraya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunath Apta Brajabala Bapahiman Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd like to welcome you guys today, especially our dear friends here. And I feel really strange because they're sitting here in the room with me and I'm going to be looking more at you guys than I am at this. That's computer screens are really in person. So please forgive us. I want to read you a little something from the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. This is chapter 9, text 28. This is a prayer from Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Nrsimhadev. And in his purport, I'm just going to read a couple sentences from the purport. Prabhupada says, one should not be anxious to offer direct service to the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised that one become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, Gopi Bhartu, Padakamalayur, Dasa, Dasa, and Dasa. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 1380. This is the process for approaching the Supreme Lord. The first service should be rendered to the spiritual master, so that by his mercy, one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to render service. So there's Sevya Bhagavan and there's Sevaka Bhagavan. Sevya Bhagavan is Krishna, who we offer service to. But Guru-Deva is Sevaka Bhagavan. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who accepts that service. And as we sometimes quote from the Adi Purana, Krishna tells Arjuna, Ye me bhakta jana parta, na me bhakta sate janaha, mad bhakta namcha ye bhakta ste me bhakta tamamata. That person who says he's my devotee, he's not my devotee. But the devotee of my devotee, he's my real devotee. So Prabhupada writes in a similar way in the Nectar of Devotion, in the introduction, he says that one cannot render service directly to the Supreme Personality of God, but one has to go through Guru. And Prabhupada writes an amazing thing in his purport to the fourth canto, chapter 28, text 51. He says, when one becomes serious to follow the mission of the spiritual master, his resolution is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained before, this means meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the instruction of the spiritual master. This is technically called Vani Seva. So that's an amazing thing. So many people, they're eager to see God, to see Krishna, but we can see him through the instruction of our Gurudev. And when we have this seriousness, this resolution that I must serve my Gurudev, then we're meeting Krishna directly. So I'd like to go to this song now. This is a wonderful song by the poet Premananda Das. We've written a little something about him in the beginning here. He lived in the early 1700s. He's known as Premadas, or better known as Premananda. My Guru Maharaj used to sing some of his songs. We actually have a book of his songs. It's 108 songs. It's called Manasiksha, and it's 108 songs. You guys are bungalows. You can ask me for this. This I have a soft copy of. I can give you. It's really cool. There's 108 songs, one for each bead of your japa mala. And anyway, he's an amazing poet. He was the author of Vamsi Siksha, which speaks something about the life of Mahaprabhu's associate Vamsi Vadana. He was born in the village of Kulia in Navadvip. He's a disciple of Hari Goswami, who was in the line of Lord Nityananda Prabhu's wife, Janava Devi. When Premadas or Premananda Das was 16 years old, he left home and went to Braja. He became a cook there for Govindaji, deity of Rupa Goswami. And although he was a very exalted Vaishnava and a very talented poet, his poems are not so well known. He wrote a book also called Chaitanya Chandradoya Komudi, which is like a Bengali metrical version, a singing version, Paya version of the Chaitanya Chandradoya Nataka of Kavi Kanapur. So he's given this wonderful song speaking about who's really a sevak and what does it mean to be a sevak. What do these syllables sevaka mean? Remana chumiki bhanga makoro, Remana chumiki bhanga makoro, Seva haichi ashraya karachi kise gana bodhara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. He says, Re Ramana, Tumi ke bhanda makoro. What kind of bogus thing are you trying to do? You're running around telling everyone that I'm a sevak, or I'm a disciple. Yes, I'm a disciple of my Gurudev, but am I really a disciple? A sishya means someone who's accepting sasana, accepting chastisement. A disciple means someone who's accepting discipline and living a life of discipline. How many of us can really claim that really I'm a disciple? So also saying that I'm a sevak, what does that mean? Sevaka hoichi ashraya karyachi, that I'm taking shelter, ashraya. He says, Kise e garabadhara. Garabadhara, why are you Dara? Why are you carrying his garaba, this great pride? Am I okay? My pronunciation is not offending you too badly? Okay, please forgive me. I think Dina Bandhu Prabhu also knows Bengali pretty well too, doesn't he?
Quite some.
Yeah.
Not too much. But he takes 40 languages.
40?
Yeah.
But a few words. He knows how to say pizza in Russian.
How are you? What's your name?
Sevaka bolia etina akara tinira tinati kama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He says Sevaka bolia. Saying this word Sevaka, etina akara. There's 3 syllables. Sevaka. And these tinira tinita kam, these indicate 3 different words. Tejadina koro kimata achara seki she sevaka nama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare. Tajadi nakoro. Jari means if. So te jari nakoro. If you're not doing this, kimata achar, you're not having this achar, this behavior. Say kisha sevaka nam. Then what kind of sevaka are you? How can we say that you're really a sevak? So then what is the meaning of the word sevak? Premananda gives such a brilliant explanation. Seyakara kore Guru-Seva sada swikara guru. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Te chabi se vili, Sri Baka Lili, se Gucci Rahila Va. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. This is my dear mind. The word say akara kore, means Guru-Seva sada. That means that you should always be doing service for Gurudev. And how do you do that? Srikara Guru Vak, according to the Vak, according to the instructions of Gurudev. But ta chadi chevili, you've given that up. You haven't followed Gurudev's instructions. Instead, Sri Bhak Palili, you're following the instructions of your wife. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once, he gave sannyas to one of his disciples. And that personality stayed sannyas, I think, for like 10 minutes or something. His wife showed up and she grabbed him and said, "You're coming with me. None of this sannyas nonsense." So he says, Stribak Palili, you're following the vak, or the instruction of your wife. And say Gucci Rahila Vaka. And then you become like a crane, right? Like Vaka means a crane. And what is the meaning of a crane? The crane is someone who acts like he's absorbed in meditation, right? He's standing on one leg. It looks like a yogi standing out there in the middle of the water. But what is his real meditation? He's looking for a fish. That's his real meditation. So it looks like you're doing service for Gurudev. And therefore, in the word sevak, the first syllable say is gone, and all that's left is vak. You've just become like a crane, And then he goes on to explain the next syllable. Vaishnava Sahite Vasudeva Bhaja Fukari Kahicheva Tahana Sunile Asate Majile Vachabi Rahila Ka. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Vaishnava Sahite Vasudeva Bhaja Fukari Kahiche Va. So the syllable Va the syllable sa, or say, means that you're doing seva to Gurudev. And that seva, Guru-Seva sada. You're always doing seva for Gurudev, 24 hours. That's someone who's actually a disciple. And then the syllable va means Vaishnava Sahite Vasudeva Bhaja, that you're serving Vasudeva Krishna in the association of the Vaishnavas. Because aside from the association of the Vaishnavas, how is it possible to serve Vasudeva Krishna? But Fukari Kahichiva. But you didn't understand that. So then what's the benefit of the syllable va? Tahana sunila. You didn't listen to this thing. Asati majili va chari rahilaka. So you've lost the syllable va. You lost the syllable say. You lost the syllable va. And all that's left is ka. And what does ka mean? Kaboli kahana Krishna charitra Shravana kirtana jnana Tavalika kana samsare magana Kagela koriyamana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Kaboli kahana Krishna charitra. Ka means that to recite Krishna's pastimes, to hear Shravana Kirtana Dhyan, to hear about Krishna, to do Kirtana Krishna, to meditate on Krishna. But Tavali Kakana, you're ignoring that. Samsara Magana, you're just absorbed in this mundane samsara. So Kagela Koriyaman. So then also there's no Ka to be found either. So then he finishes his song. Eka eka deka tine chadila vasati haila kali kahi premananda te jama kinkara ate bajahi te kali Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Eka eka deka tini chadila. One by one, you gave up those three things, and now there's nothing left. Where's your sevak? And Premananda Das Kahi Premananda. He says, "Hey, te jama kinkara hati bhaja iti tali." Now the servants of Yamaraj, they're having a party. They're jumping up and down. They're clapping their hands. Now we've got this fellow. He's putting on a big show that he's a big sevak. But he's not a sevak at all because there's no say, there's no service to Gurudev, there's no va. You're not serving the Krishna Vasudeva in the association of the Vaishnavas, and ka. You're not speaking about the pastimes of Krishna. So I made some comments about this some years ago when we printed in our Bindu magazine. The Premananda Das, he's acting like a householder. He's talking to his mind. This is some mana siksha, instructions of the mind. He's saying, mind, my dear mind, what kind of badmash are you? What kind of rascal are you? You're acting like something. You're thinking you're a servant, someone who's taking shelter. Then in the fourth stanza of Premananda Das, he stresses about Vaishnava Sangha. And he gives some clue how we get that association. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur, when in the Prema Vilas, which is a book written by Nityananda Das, wonderful name, given to him by Janava Mata, the wife of Lord Nityananda. That's pretty good. He describes in Prema Vilas how it is that we chant the holy name. Harinama Sadiva Guru Sange Taki Sada Vaishnavera Sange Loba Koriba Sarvata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So Harinama Sadiva, if you want to get the holy name, then Guru Sange Taki Sada. You should always associate with Gurudev. And how do we do that? It doesn't mean that you just send your Gurudev an email or something and say, Gurudev, I just want to inform you, I'm just going to travel with you now. Constantly. Maybe Gurudev doesn't appreciate that. Maybe you're a little bit annoying to him. But that association, Guru Sange Taki Shada, means that I'm associating with Gurudev's instruction. And by associating with his instruction, I'm really associating with him always. But to get that holy name, I have to be associating with Gurudev always. And Vaishnaveda Shangi Loba, I have to have this loba, this greed, to have Vaishnav Sangha. Otherwise, I'm not really associating with Gurudev. So we have to please Gurudev, we have to be chanting in association with the devotees. Jagadananda Pundit in Prema Vivarta, he comments, Asadu Shangete Bhai Nam Nahi Hoy, that the holy name doesn't manifest. It's just Nam Akshara Bahir Hoy. It's just some external syllables if you're not in association with the devotees. So this is our system. We should render service to Gurudev in such a way. But what does it mean to do service to Gurudev? We were in our first session, I think we cited this Hindi saying that Guru Mili Laki Laki Sishya Mili Ek, that there's lakhs and lakhs. It's not hard to find a bona fide guru. There's more of them than there are bona fide disciples by far. In the spiritual world, everybody's a bona fide guru. And there's so many bona fide gurus in this world. Guru Mili Laki Laki, but Sishya Mili Ek, to find even one bona fide disciple, that's a very, very difficult thing. So years ago, Fakir Prabhu, he spoke to us about 3 different types of Guru-Seva: Apekshika, Sadharana, and Sarvatantra Swatantra. So Apekshika Seva means it's waiting for its purpose, Apekshika. And it's not good by itself. It needs something else. It's apara vichar, or an apparent consideration. And with that kind of attitude, the disciple thinks that, oh, Gurudev, he's such a nice guru. He built this temple, and now he's making a big brahmacharya ashram in the back of the temple. Gurudev is doing this, so I have a nice place to stay. Gurudev's a very good guru. I approve. Or sometimes Gurudev tells someone that they should marry, and the disciple thinks, yes, Gurudev wants this. This is Gurudev's desire. But maybe it's your desire. You're thinking like that. So that's Apekshika Seva. It's a very low-class kind of service. It's dependent upon something else. Sadharana Seva is a common understanding. It's general. And that attitude, the disciple thinks that Gurudev likes all services equally. He has no favorite. They're all the same. It's kind of like somebody who comes and tells you, I love everybody. I'm friends with everybody. If you say you're friends with everybody, it means you're friends with nobody. It means you don't know what it means to be a friend. And Krishna says, he speaks about friendship and relationships in Gita. He says, Vyavasyatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. We should be one-pointed. There has to be some intimacy. Rupa Goswami describes it, Guyam akyati prichati. We should be Guyam. We should speak in a private way with that person, not that we go and advertise it to everybody, or not that everybody's the same. If everybody's the same to you, it means you're a Mayavadi. You're an impersonalist. If you love everybody, it means you don't love anybody. Love means that you're one-pointed. If you tell your wife or your girlfriend, I really love you, and I also love another 100 different girls, she'll slap you in the face, right? It has no meaning. So Sadharana Seva is like that also. It has no real meaning. It's Gurudev likes everything equally. He has no favorite. The topmost seva, the Sadharana seva is better than Apekshika. It's not, Apekshika is just some mundane thing. That person is like a monarch. He's like a merchant doing some business with Gurudev. The Sadharana, at least he has appreciation for all services. But the best type of service is Sarva Tantra Swatantra. What is Gurudev's real desire? Anukulyena Krishnanu. My Guru Maharaj commented about this phrase, Anukulyena, Rupa Goswami's 11th verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that service to Krishna should be anukulya. It should be favorable service, which ultimately, he said, means Radha. And ultimately, on a prior level to that, Anukulyena Seva means to do some favorable service according to Gurudev's desire. So, if you want to invite some IYF devotees. Like once I remember we were in Las Vegas, Nevada, a very terrible place. It's like hell. Have you been there?
Yeah,
And we were going, sometimes we were doing book distribution secretly in the casinos, the gambling casinos. And it's very difficult because they have cameras everywhere and security and even on the streets and things. And it's just hell. The place, the town is full of prostitutes, it's full of gambling, it's full of meat eating and smoking and every kind of illicit activity you can imagine. So one day we were in a health food store. It's hard to find decent bogue also in that place. We were in a health food store and somebody looked at us and he's staring at us and he came over and he says, "Are you guys Hare Krishna devotees?" And we said, "Yeah." And he had neck beads on. He said, "Really? I'm a devotee. Oh my God, you got to come to my house and let me cook for you." Well, yeah, that's great. So we went to his house and we're there in his house. And I noticed some kind of funny things. One thing is he had a big marijuana pipe there. And another thing was that he had some magazines with pictures that I don't want to talk about, pictures of girls. And it wasn't a biology book. It was, it was something else. And we were speaking with him. We came to find out how he makes a living. He's an astrologer. And by using astrology, he would pick out good numbers for him for a day. And he's living in Las Vegas. And so he would take those numbers and he would go and gamble in the casinos. And that's how he was making his living. So at that point I said, I really, really nice to come and see you stuff. But I should have told you before, but I'm on a strict fast this month. I'm just taking fruits and we're not taking anything else, just fruits right now. We wouldn't take any of the grains. That was cooked by him. So it may look like we're trying to do some service for someone, but Pekshika Seva means that it has some other purpose to it. We're inviting the devotees to our home because we want them to take our karma. That happens sometimes. I've seen things like that, especially when they want you to do a Shraddha ceremony. I used to be the head priest for the Bhubaneswar, for the temple in Alachua, Florida. And all the Hindus, when somebody dies, they want to bring you to their house, and they've never been to the temple even once. These are just good Hindus in America, and their grandfather died or their father or something. And so they have this, they bring you there and they want to give you a pair of shoes and an umbrella and clothes. And it's a very dangerous type of thing. Anyway, I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. And I used to refuse to do it unless they would do kirtan and here's some Krishna Katha. And I would give them a Bhagavad Gita and like that. And we'd bring some prasadam. But otherwise, it's just some smarta kind of ceremony. It's very, very depressing. So we should understand that service to Guru means according to his desire. Guru Maharaj told the story once. He said that once there was a disciple who, I'm trying to think, who his Gurudev told him, "There's this pot of yogurt here, and I want you to take the stick, and I want you to guard it from the dogs. Don't let any dogs take the yogurt." "Yes, Gurudev." And so he's standing there, and after a few minutes, a crow comes, Paki, a kaka, we say in Odia, right? Kaka comes, this Paki, this bird. And he's watching the bird, and the bird starts eating the yogurt, and he doesn't do anything. And the bird eats all the yogurt, all the dahi. And then after a little while, his guru comes back and he says, "What happened to the yogurt?" He said, "Oh, Gurudev, you told me to protect it from the dog. But the dog didn't come, but there was one kaka, one crow. He came and he ate. He didn't." His guru became very upset. So we should understand the desire of Gurudev. And that desire of Gurudev, we become one with that desire. The more that we serve Gurudev and the more that we try to meditate on his desire, what it is that he wants, what it is that pleases him, then that thing will naturally come to our heart. Krishna says, "Dadami buddhi yogam tam." I'll give them intelligence. So Gurudev also gives that personality intelligence. If we don't follow the order of Gurudev, then we become a sar, because that order of Gurudev is our sar. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami says, Achajira mata jay say mata sar, Tanra agya langi chale say ta asar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That mata, that desire of Gurudev, Achajira mata jay, say mata sar. That's our sar, that's our life, that's the essence of everything. Tanra agya langi chali, that order, that agya of Gurudev. If you disobey that order, agya langi chali, say to asar, then that disciple becomes useless. And it doesn't matter how big a photograph you have on your wall in the ashram, 6-foot high photograph of you taking beads from Gurudev. It has no meaning. Why do we take initiation from Guru? There's a saying in Oriya, Kona Funka Guru. Does that make sense in Bengali also? Kona means the ear. Kona Funka means the spit. That it's not that Gurudev just comes and spits in your ear. In other words, he's not just mantra datta, just someone who's giving you mantra, but he's ashraya datta. He's someone who's giving us shelter. And that shelter comes when we accept the instructions of Gurudev. Those instructions of Gurudev, following that's someone who's a real disciple. Otherwise, they're just putting on some show. They're a sevak. But if the say and the va are gone and the ka is gone, then what value is it? And that ka is very important. The seva ka. The seva means we're doing seva to Gurudev. And how do we do seva? We want to be amongst the Vaishnavas, va, to do service to Vasudev. And what kind of service do we do primarily with the Vaishnavas? We want to hear katha about Krishna. And if we're not hearing katha of Krishna, then what kind of disciple is that? And I honestly just say something a little controversial, but I see on the internet today, there's so many people, they're big devotees. Sometimes my friends are even initiated by Srila Prabhupada, but they stopped Krishna katha. And now they're doing COVID katha. It's a fact. I'm just being honest. They're doing COVID katha, and don't you dare get vaccinated. That's terrible, and it's a big conspiracy. And this, and maybe it's true. I'm not an authority. I'm supposed to speak about Bhagavatam and Krishna katha. I don't know about COVID virus and this and that, and I understand maybe there is some lot of, but who cares? We want to see the primary cause of everything, which is Krishna. And if we're not seeing that, if we're not speaking about that, then what kind of service are we doing for Gurudev? What kind of representation are we giving of Gurudev? We're just representing Maya, because people today, they're dying, they're crying. People, they don't understand what's going on, which way to turn in the world today. So if the devotees are also just shouting on the internet, these bastard governments and this and that are bad, Bhaktarupa Prabhu just came in. Hare Krishna. So this is Arjun Bhattacharya. Here, it's off in the basin, Dinabandhu Prabhu's servant. We're just introducing somebody so here. And this is a Radha Bhagavan Prabhu. He's the most worshipable. I don't know what's going on with prasadam. You have to ask the cook that. We're just here for something else. So I want to finish this session today with a wonderful story that I've heard from Vrindavan, especially as we have Arjun Bhattacharya Prabhu here. He's a Bhattacharya, but really he's a Brijbasi. He's not a Bengali, although he has a Bengali name. He's a great singer. Oh, and I'm singing all these things in front of him. That's really embarrassing. So if you go to, by the bank of the Jamuna, to Imli, to Nityananda Vat, Shringaravat, there's a long story about that place, but there was one Mahant there who wrote a book, which I used to have here on my shelf. I don't have right now. It's called Vrindavan Lilamrita. His name was Nanda Kishore Goswami. And it's a wonderful book. It has many verses from the Bhagavatam, and it's kind of expanding on Krishna's Braj Leela according to his own particular realization. But how it is that he wrote that book is a very interesting story. Now, Nanda Kishore Goswami, he's in the line of Nityananda Prabhu. And he had many disciples. And a lot of his disciples, they were very high-tech disciples. They were very expert in Sanskrit and Shastra and like that. But Nandakishore Goswami also had one disciple whose name was Bondu. Bondu wasn't so high-tech. Bondu didn't know so many shlokas. But Bondu, he loved his Gurudev. And he loved his Gurudev. He had more devotion to his Gurudev than anything else. But Bondu wasn't so expert with anything. So his Gurudev had him taking care of the cows. And every day he would take the cows across the Jamuna to Bandiravan or different places to herd the cows there. And one day, as he went across the river, he met some Brijbasi boys. And they saw him, and they were also taking care of cows. And they told him, "You're very fortunate that you're coming here to take care of the cows, because you know who comes here every day to take care of the cows, along with his older brother, is Kanai, Krishna. Krishna's coming every day along with Dauji, Balaram, and they're friends, and they're taking care of the cows. And if you're very fortunate, you might even see them here." And so Bondu was a simple person, but he had strong faith and strong devotion to his Gurudev. And when he heard that, oh my gosh, Krishna's here. And so he was looking and looking. And that entire day he searched for Krishna and he couldn't find Krishna. The next day he was searching. For the next week, for many weeks, for many months, and for several years. Bondu was searching and searching for Krishna because he'd heard Krishna's there. He's a simple person. So finally, after some time, Bondu became very disturbed and very depressed. And he just started crying and crying. And he was sitting down under a tree, just sobbing and wailing. I'm so unfortunate, I can't see Krishna. And his crying attracted some local boys who were there. And the boys came to see him. They came running. They thought, oh my God, maybe somebody broke their leg or some terrible thing happened. And, are you okay? Is it all right? And Bondu just looked at him. I can't see Krishna. He said, oh God, it's another one of those Hare Krishna people. And they said, look, Baba, we see a lot of sadhus like you. They come to Braj and you just waste your whole life searching for Krishna. Take it from us. Don't waste your time trying to search for him. You just be our friend. We're Gwalas, we're cowherd boys. We're here in Braj. We're also herding the cows. And so Bondu made friends with him. And every day he would go with those boys and he would herd the cows. And sometimes they would play some games and whatever like that. So this went on for some time. And one day, as Bondu was leaving in the morning from the ashram, Nandakishore Goswami noticed that he was carrying a bag of atta flour on his head. And Nandakishore Goswami said, hey, Bondu, where are you going with the flour? He said, oh, Gurudev, we're having a bandar today. My friends, we're having some feast with the boys. And Nandakishore Goswami said, what friends? You didn't tell me about your friends. And Bondu said, oh, Gurudev, they're really wonderful friends. They're Brijbasi boys. They also take care of the cows. They're Gwalas. And there's a whole group of them. But the head of them, his name is Kanu. And Guru Maharaj, he is so beautiful. You can't believe. He's blackish. And I know usually people are blackish, they're not so attractive, but he is so beautiful. And Guru Maharaj, he has a flute. And when he plays the flute, you're not going to believe it when I tell you this, but it's true. I've seen it with my own eyes. When he plays the flute, the Jamuna River stops flowing. When he plays the flute, the cows stop eating the grass, and whatever grass is in their mouth just falls out. And I saw once, he played his flute, and some puckies and birds were drinking water from a little puddle, and the water became hard, and the birds got their beaks stuck in the water. It's amazing when he plays the flute. So Nandakishore Goswami was listening to Bondu speak like this, and he said, Bondu, I'd really like to meet your friends. He said, when you go and see them today, you tell them that your Guru Maharaj is inviting all of them for a big feast here tomorrow. And Bondu, he's so simple. He said, really, Gurudev? Yes, yes. You tell them they should all come tomorrow. Thank you, Gurudev. That's so good. And so Bondu went that day, and he was playing with the boys of Krishna and Balaram, and all the boys. Bondu didn't recognize who they were. And then suddenly Bondu remembered. He said, hey, Kanu, good news. tomorrow, my Gurudev, he wants to invite you and all the boys for a big bandar at the ashram. So you please come. And then Krishna stopped for a moment. And Krishna told him, he said, Bandhu, I'm sorry. He said, but you tell your Guru Maharaj that he can't see me in this lifetime. And when he told that to Bandhu is so simple. He's so dedicated to his Gurudev. Bandhu said, oh, come on, don't tease me. It's Gurudev saying it. You have to come. Come on. And Krishna said, Bandhu, I'm sorry. But you tell him that I can't come. And when he said that to Bandhu, suddenly Bandhu's lips started trembling. And he didn't say anything, but he just spun around and he started walking away very quickly. And then over his shoulder, without even looking back at Krishna, he said, you're not my friend anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. You're not my friend. And Krishna, that personality with the greatest of yogis are chasing after, he went running after Bandhu. And he grabs him by his cloth and said, hey, of course we can come. What I meant to say was that Balaram can't come. It's his birthday tomorrow and he can't come. But of course we can come. It's your Gurudev. We have to come. And so because of the disciple, by the mercy of his disciple, Nandikishore Goswami was able to have darshan of Krishna Bhagavan. And he wrote this wonderful book. He had some Leela Spurti. He saw Krishna's different pastimes, and he expanded those Braj Leelas that we find in the Bhagavatam into this wonderful book called Vrindavan Lilamrita, some of which we sometimes sing from. It's a very nice book. It's all in Bengali Paya. So in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, in the 9th chapter, we read this verse, this purport, the 28th verse, where Prabhupada was speaking about the importance of Guru-Seva. Prabhupada says, I'll read this again. Prabhupada says, one should not be anxious to offer direct service to the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised that one become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur, Dasa Dasana Dasa. That this is the process for approaching the Supreme Lord. The first service should be rendered to the spiritual master, so that by his mercy, one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to render service. Sometimes we ask devotees a question just like Roshan is here. So Roshan, what if I came to you and I came running in the room? I said, oh my God, Roshan, it's amazing. Krishna is standing outside right now and he wants to talk to you. So Roshanji, what will you do? You can unmute yourself. I'd like to know, what will you do? Tell us. What will you do?
Prabhuji, as you said that we must serve the servant of Lord first. So I would first ask my Gurudev.
Good for you. Most devotees, when I ask them this question, they say, well, I'll go there. And then I ask them, so what are you going to do? You're going to ask them, how's the weather in Vrindavan? You know, how are the gopis? You know, what are you going to say? And I told them, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to put my Gurudev in front of me. And I'll go behind my Gurudev because my Gurudev is Sevaka Bhagavan. He's a real Sevak. And only through him can I serve Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj, he prays the Lord Nrsingadev like this. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama bhikama manuya prapatan prasangat kritvatmasat surhasina bhagavan grihita soham katam nuvishujeta babritya sevam. He says, Evam janam, I was following all the common janas, all the common people. And because of that, nipatitam prabhavahi kupe, I fell into a dark well of material existence. And in that well, that undercoop is full of bad snakes and things. And I was following kama bhikama anuya. I was following all my material desires and things. But he said, your devotee, Narad Muni, he came to me. He says that the Kritvatmasat Sudashina Bhagavan Grihita. The Grihita, he accepted me. Soham Katam Navishijay Tebabritya Seva. Lord Nrsingadev is telling Prahlad Maharaj, hey, Prahlad, I like you so much. You're my very dear devotee. I want you to come with me to the spiritual world. And Prahlad is telling him, I'm sorry, I can't go. Why can't you go? It's kind of hard to refuse Lord Nrsingadev. You think it's hard to refuse buying a book from a devotee on the street. It's really hard to say no to Lord Nrsingadev. He's kind of an angry person, right? But Prahlad Maharaj, without any fear, he's saying, Soham katam vishajay tava britya seva. How can I give up my Gurudev's seva? I can't do that. So I have something more important than going with you, than going with Lord Nrsingadev. What's more important to me is the service of my Gurudev. That's my everything. And we learn this in the story of Bondu and Nanda Kishore Goswami. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and ask the devotees if anybody has any reflection, there's a bunch of devotees who joined since they were at last looking. Nice to see everybody here. Leela Purushottambu and Satyam and Rasaraj and Iskam Bhubaneswar is there again too. Prakash Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So does anybody have any reflections? Amrita Gaur always has his hand up. Tukaram Prabhu both. So let's take Tukaram. I think Tukaram's a senior person, isn't it? Tukaram, I'm going to repeat whatever you say because I can't put the speakers on this thing. I just got these earphones and the devotees sure want to hear. So Tukaram, we have some reflections, something you want to share?
Yes. The most important point that I like this, that one should see the Lord through the instruction of Gurudev.
Yes, he's just saying the most important thing is we should see the Lord through the instruction of Gurudev.
A few days back, we were discussing on the song that was written by Srila Prabhupada, Marki Mein Bhagavad Dharma, where the first time he's saying that Bodo Kripa Koile Krishna Adha Mera Prati. We were discussing that Srila Prabhupada was not thinking that because now he has reached America, so that is the mercy done made by Krishna, that somehow or other he came to America. If we would have gone to America, so we'll say, oh, Bodo Kripa Koile Krishna Adha Mera Prati. But
he's saying that they were just reading, let's hold a second. They were reading Markim Bhagavad Dharma recently, and Prabhupada's saying in there that when he reached America, he's not saying that now I've gotten Krishna's mercy, but now you give me your mercy. It reminds me, I was speaking to a local person in the shop here this morning, and he was asking me, so he said, where are you from? I said, Moda Janmastan, USA. My birthplace is the USA. And he said, oh, we want to go to America. And I said, America, Balanahi, it's not a nice place, but India, Orissa, Kubhal, very, very nice. And they didn't look very convinced. So then I told them, America is very good for paisa, for making money. I said, but this is very good for Jagannath Bhagavan. But now today, people are not interested in Jagannath Bhagavan, but they like paisa Bhagavan. And he appreciated that. That's it. Or as Dinabandhu Prabhu says, we'll invoke Dinabandhu Prabhu, Arjun here today. He says that it used to be when I came to India, one of his best jokes, I think, that everybody saw me as an Atma, as a spirit soul. But now, after so many years, they dropped the last A, and I become an ATM machine. Instead of Atma, I'm an ATM. So I'm like, go ahead, Tukaram Prabhu.
So we were discussing, Prabhu, that Prabhupada is saying that Krishna has done mercy on him in one sense because Krishna has engaged him in the mission of his Gurudev. So the greatest Krishna's mercy is that once if we are engaged in mission of our Gurudev, that is considered to be the greatest mercy.
Yeah, so he's commenting that having the service of our Gurudev is a real mercy. My Guru Maharaj put it in such a strong way once it was in New Jersey. What's the temple in New Jersey? Tawako. In Tawako, I knew he'd been there before, right? Yeah. In Tawako, New Jersey, he gave a class and he said that unless you've gotten the personal instruction from your Gurudev, you've just been cheated. It disturbed the minds of some devotees, but it's a fact. That's what he commented to us. He said that we become the animal of Gurudev, and Gurudev can tell us anything he wants to tell us, but we still have one right, and that right is to ask our Gurudev the question Prabhupada said. He said, I only ask my Gurudev one question: how can I serve you? We have a right for that question. So thank you, Tukaram. You're always serving your Guru Maharaj in such a wonderful way. I'm just in awe of it. Thank you. So how about Amritesh Gora Prabhu? Can we hear something from him?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing so nice pastimes. And this pastime of this disciple Bondhu, we heard it earlier, but we did not know so nicely the tattva. And also, he is a disciple of Nanda Krishna Goswami. I did not know really how simplicity wins the heart, and surrender does not require any knowledge. Surrender is something which is from the heart. It does not require any external things to be done. And
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes he's saying that he appreciated the story and how Bondhu is very simple. I think Bondhu in Hindi means like simpleton or like a boka or something, right? Yeah, same as boka, right? Yeah. Bondhu means boka. Huh?
Yeah.
So, but because he's so simple in heart, and that's the qualification. But sometimes we're thinking, see, if I'm very simple, then I don't get any respect. But if I go to Loy Bazaar and I get a commentary on, now that's in English, on Ujjwala Nilamani, and I get this book and that book, and I start quoting these things, then everybody's going to say, oh, he's a great pundit, and I'll get so much respect. And the people will think I'm a devotee for that. And that's a shame. Jayananda Prabhu couldn't even pronounce the Gayatri mantra properly. He was such a simple person. And half the time he wasn't wearing a dhoti. He was just wearing old stained jeans because he was serving Prabhupada by building a Rath Yatra card and doing whatever. But he was so simple, and Prabhupada loved him. And he was our first saint, basically, in ISKCON.
yeah.
So that's the standard. Not that. And on the other hand, one of Prabhupada's servants, who I won't even mention his name because we don't want to disturb everything, he was a big Sanskrit scholar. But at one point he came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, you know, you're not bona fide. You please bless me that I can find a genuine bona fide guru. And Prabhupada cursed him, that I curse you, you won't find a bona fide guru for thousands of lifetimes or something like that. So what's the value of being a big Sanskrit pundit? And that person was very big and well known. But Jayananda was just, people, there's a story we tell sometimes, I think I told it in one of our sessions actually, that people thought sometimes he was the garbage man because he was taking care of the garbage. He was a temple president in San Francisco, but he was such a humble person. That's being a devotee. So thank you, Amritesh Prabhu. It's really good.
And also those songs by Premananda Das Thakur. I have heard Guru Maharaj singing this song, which you also
Really?
sang. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm saying, huh? I heard in the
Your Guru
audio.
Maharaj,
Yeah, Guru Maharaj.
Bhakti Chara Maharaj.
No, means Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, I'm saying.
Acha, I didn't know that Guru Maharaj had sung this. You said my Guru Maharaj
No,
had
I'm
sung
not saying
song.
this song. I mean, songs of
Uh-huh.
Premananda.
Oh, but yeah, Kahi Premananda.
That
Yeah,
one, which you also
yeah,
sing in the
yeah.
beginning of Mangalacharya.
Right.
Yeah, that one. And
I
I
get
used to like
excited.
this. By reading that, I would like so much earlier also. Now, once what happened that I could not find out that where is the meaning of it. So then I was searching in the internet. Then I found out a book. Premananda Das Thakur has written that book which you are told, that with 108 songs, Mana Siksha, it is available in Bengali. I saw that. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
And this Sevaka meaning is so beautiful. I understood this Guru-Seva part, that Se means Guru-Seva Sada, and Va means Vaishnava Sahite Vasudeva Bhaja. So now this Vaishnava Sahite and Guru-Seva, can they go hand in hand all the time?
Yes, everything is sequential and everything is built upon each other. If you're doing Guru-Seva, it means you have to be associating with the Vaishnavas. If you're not associating with the Vaishnavas, how can you do Guru-Seva? Because you're not going to understand how to do Guru-Seva. You're not going to be in good association. You won't be pure enough to do it because you'll fall down due to bad association. And then what does it mean to associate with the devotees? It means to hear Krishna Katha. And that's all three aspects of Guru-Seva. You can't separate associating with the Vaishnavas and hearing and chanting with them about Krishna from Guru-Seva. That's the most important aspect of our Guru-Seva. What's the value of being a disciple if we're not doing those things?
So does that mean that Vaishnav Sahita means also we should also have some Siksha Gurus also? who will guide us how to serve our Guru?
We may have Siksha Gurus. It's not that it's required. It depends on the person. I'll tell you a little story. After Guru Maharaj left, a number of our God brothers left ISKCON. And they not only left ISKCON, I don't mind maybe the institution thing so much, but they also left Guru Maharaj's services that Guru Maharaj gave to them. And many of them were my friends, they still are. And one of them came back to Bhubaneswar at one point, and we were having a talk, and he was telling me, Madhavananda, what are you doing, man? He said, you're staying here in Bhubaneswar, you have no association. You should come with me to Vrindavan. And the Sadhu Maharaj is there. And it's a great Vaishnava. And somebody actually that I know Guru Maharaj appreciated, and somebody I also greatly appreciated. He said, you should come there. And I said, that's okay. I said, but can you look me in the eye and tell me that if I go there, my service to Guru Maharaj will continue? That I'll be able to continue that service? Because I've seen so many of our God brothers who went there and they didn't continue their service. And I'm not their judge. I'm not trying to say this or that, but my service to Gurudev is everything that I have. And he said, yeah, but you need to have association. I said, yes. I said, but that association, I have faith that Guru Maharaj wants me to have association more than I wanted. And that Guru Maharaj knows exactly what kind of association to give me. And if I please him by not going anywhere, it's like Bondu, I'm not going to, you're not my friend anymore. He's telling it to Krishna. Or like Prahlad Maharaj, I'm not going to go with you, he tells Lord Nrsingadev, because I have my Guru-Seva. If we show our Gurudev that we're very fixed, we're Guru Nishta, we're Nishta and it's Seva to him, then he'll shower his blessings, and his blessings will come in the form of higher association. And when I told this to this friend of mine, he kind of paused and thought for a moment. He said, yeah, I guess so. And I became a little harsh with him. I said, what do you mean you guess so? How can you have any doubt that Guru Maharaj is such a gentleman that if you're actually serving him and you're being faithful to his order, instruction to you, that he'll take care of you? So Guru Maharaj also told Jagadatma Prabhu once, he said, you don't have to have, he told him personally, you don't have to have a Siksha Guru after this. It's not that everybody has to have, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe we may require another 100 Siksha Gurus. Or maybe you're just fixed in your particular service to your Gurudev, and he'll speak to you through the heart. It's an individual thing. There's no hard and fast rule that after the disappearance of Gurudev, someone has to have a Siksha Guru. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said in one article that I pray that I may see my Gurudev every year, every month, every week, every day, every hour, every minute, every second. I pray that I may see him in every person, in every animal, in every tree, in every stone, everywhere. He said, if I don't see my Gurudev constantly in everyone, then I may fall prey to the bad desire to be Guru myself, which I think is what we want to talk about in our next session. Who can be Guru? Because that's a big thing for disciple, because disciple means Guru. So who can become Guru? And that's something we'll speak about in the next session. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Thank you. I understood. So when we do our Guru's Seva nicely, then Guru will guide us through one beautiful association. That is what.
Yes.
And we don't need to look for association separately.
Yeah. Guru, you're already marked. When you're initiated, you're marked. There's a mark. It's like you mark a cow or something. They brand a cow. They take a hot iron. So we've been marked by Gurudev. I belong to this person. And how can I go to someone else unless Gurudev tells me to, or unless Gurudev makes some arrangement? And I can tell you personally that I'm convinced that Guru Maharaj sent me several different Vaishnavas to help me. And one of the reasons why I'm convinced that they were sent by Gurudev is because each one of those Vaishnavas, they helped me to serve my Gurudev in a better way. And they pushed me, don't ever give up the service, don't ever stop it. And they would flatter me, they would encourage me, they would chastise me, one person even beat me. You do your service to your Gurudev. And that's, I met my Guru Maharaj in that person.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you for your seva.
One more little item.
Sure.
So, like you told that Guru-Seva is easier than the deity's service. Easier, or we told it is more better, you told? What? We read it in that song, I forgot it. Means Lord service and Guru's service, or Vaishnava Seva and Guru Seva, and Vaishnava Seva and Krishna Seva. So easier is Vaishnava Seva. That's what we read. Forgot that line.
Yeah.
So I was telling that sometimes it happens that we may have the desire to serve our Guru Maharaj directly. But if somebody has that mood, rather than having the mood of servant of Guru, so is that a proper mood?
So he's asking, sometimes we see devotees, they say that it's not appropriate to serve Gurudev directly, that we should serve the servant of the servant. I appreciate that. I think that should be our mood. When Guru Maharaj gave me one of his first instructions, one of the very first things he told me, I was initiated prior in ISKCON by Rameshwar Prabhu. And I had Brahmin initiation. I was doing pujas and things like I mentioned. And one of the first instructions Guru Maharaj gave me was to install some deities for one of my godbrothers. And Guru Maharaj did the actual ceremony. I was a purohit. And then Guru Maharaj, somehow he liked it. And he called me in the room. He said, so I want you to come to Bhubaneswar and install Radha Gopinath. And I was horrified. I said, Guru Maharaj, I don't even know English very well, much less Oriya, much less Hindi, much less Sanskrit. I know a few mudras and some, things, but what can I do? And Guru Maharaj said, no, I want you to come. And then I told him, but you have so many senior disciples. I just was initiated. I'm a very junior person. And that was my personal mood, to serve Guru Maharaj through different devotees. But Guru Maharaj later gave me this service of making this publication, doing a magazine thing. And it's a little personal, but he told the devotees that there's two persons who can come to see him anytime. One was Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, who's the temple president, and the other was myself, because I was doing this Guru-Seva work and I had questions and things like that. So it wasn't my intention to try to personally to get close to Guru Maharaj and try to be with him all the time. But that was his desire. So it's not that we should be artificial. And Gurudev says, I want you to come and serve me. Guru Maharaj actually told me he wanted me to be his personal servant, which I did for a couple of months, a month or so in Europe in '94. It's not that at that time I said, no, Guru Maharaj, I can't, I'm very humble. I'm not qualified. Rather, I should serve your disciples. No, whatever Gurudev tells you to do. If Gurudev tells you to do something, you must. You have no other choice. You must do that thing. Yeah. So otherwise, it's false humility. But at the same time, I appreciate your point that it's not that we should just come and start hanging out with Gurudev. Gurudev, I am so close with you. And that's horrible. Much, much better will we be the servant of Gurudev and attract his appreciation and mercy in that way. Nice point. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service you're doing on Mitesh Prabhu. You and Tukaram, you guys are transforming the whole Bhubaneswar temple. We love you guys. All right. Anybody else have any reflections or anything? Anybody here? Okay. So we'll go ahead and stop there. And next week, we'll talk about who can become guru. What a topic. My God. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Who can be guru? Wow, there's some really heavy stuff with that. All right. So my humble thanks to Amritesh Prabhu and Tukaram and Pritish Prabhu and all the different devotees here. So we'll see you guys next week, the next Thursday, okay? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki jai, Vansha Kalpatarubhishcha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Nam.
Madhavananda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.